It's the Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience back with you again. No Dave, no Patrick, but it's just me and Jermaine holding down the house or the fort or whatever you want to call it. But today's guest is Crimson Overtone. Yeah, and you can hear the audience behind us there. Um, but we have Christina and Rob with us this morning from the band. And Christina, you're the lead vocalist, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Rob, what are you?
I am the rhythm guitar player.
Rhythm guitar player, like this. Do you do a lot of the production work too, behind the scenes and all that?
I'm co-producer for the band.
Cool, like this. So just yesterday we were recording this show. I think on the 15th. If I'm no, I'm correct. With that, no, though. The 20th, on the January 20th, and you guys just released a new song called "Dead Man Walking." What's that song about?
Um, so different members of the band kind of have different perspectives on it. When I originally wrote it, it's kind of this idea of flirting with sin, flirting with the things that tend to bring us down and destroy us. Um, so I don't know if you've ever felt this way, but I know that I've definitely um struggled with keeping my mouth shut, trying to be the better person in a situation, and then like I go and I spend the rest of the day thinking about, oh, I could have said this, or I could have gotten back at them this way, or I could have done this other thing. And um, scripture's pretty clear that in your anger don't sin, and our thoughts can be sinful in that way. And when I let that anger just fester and build up, it messes with me, and ultimately I can't be the person that I need to be. And so it kind of is like that zombie state, that dead man walking feeling.
How about you, Rob?
Yeah, same boat with Christina. So I wrote the music for the song originally. Um, and it came from, funnily enough, before I even knew she had these lyrics, came from an angry place. That's honestly where I think a lot of people in metal kind of write their stuff from. They just need to get stuff out. But specifically that day that I wrote that music, I was really, really angry about something I can't even remember at this point. But I wrote it and actually titled it. I titled the track originally "Angry," because that's just how I was feeling. And I presented it to the band, and Christina was like, "I have something perfect for that." And yeah, that's where it came from. And then, like what she was talking about, just dealing with anger my entire life. That was kind of my go-to situation. With different people, and now I'm in a better place, of course, through the Lord and CR and things like that. But the song definitely hits home for all of us, I think, when it comes to dealing with that. You, like what she was saying, turn it into that like zombie mode where you just see red and you just let everything out in that negative way when we're not supposed to.
Isn't it like it sometimes we get angry about something and then we kind of reflect maybe hours later or days later, like, why did I get angry about that? Why did that just bug me so much?
Right.
Mhm.
You know, and so um, let's go back another song that we had not discussed. Coffin Black. How did Christina? Did you write that again?
Yes, I wrote that one too. Um, and actually, I think, funnily enough, last time we were on the show, last January, I think it was, we were
Yes.
talking about Coffin Black, saying it was going to release in February, and then, well, 9 months later, it finally
Right.
came out. But
uh,
it's out now.
yes. What's that? I mean, kind of a dark title. But what's that song about?
That one's very personal for me. It's about the topic of grief, but not grief for somebody who's dead. It's grief for people that are still alive. So I have somebody in my life that I love a lot, but they're very far from the Lord, and they're living um, very much in um, they're really, really struggling with just life in general, and they're far from God. And it's hard being so close to that person and loving that person as much as I do, and watching them um, walk away from faith and watching them struggle so much with their faith. And so this song just came from a deep sadness of, grieving this person and grieving them in a way where there's still hope. There's still hope that they can come back. As long as you're alive, there's always hope that the Lord can save you. But at the same time, that doesn't make it easy to watch somebody suffer. So that's what that song really is about.
Yeah, I have my oldest son. Is kind of doesn't want anything to do with the Lord at this point, and it's very hard to deal with that. But I'm reading this 21 day fasting book, and one of the things it talks about is standing in the gap for their salvation, and it's really just taught me that about prayer and about staying in the gap and just being prayerful in that situation and believing that God's going to do a miracle in his life once again. This. So I want to get back to Dead Man Walking. It Rob, it is harder and just almost like more violent in the musical thing than you've ever done before. I was just like, wow, the screams, the just how loud it is. Uh, it, is that intentional or just how it came out? Is this a direction musically you're going? I can't, Rob. Rob, you're muted.
My bad.
There we go.
I got muted because of background noise. Yes. So, like I said, I wrote the music originally from an angry place. So, yes, it definitely is a much angrier sound, a much heavier sound. But also at the same time, yes, it is kind of the direction that we're going. This is kind of like one of those situations where in a band where you're kind of figuring out some new ideas and everything. So this is what our producer and lead guitarist Evan was talking to me about earlier, was it being like the first of this kind of new thing that we're going into, with me being on rhythm guitar now versus bass, and then him going straight into mainly lead. It's freeing us up to do a whole lot more and have a fuller sound. And so, yeah, I'd say that it's a direction that we're going in. We'll have a few more things coming out later in the year that, we can talk about later, but you'll see a very similar feel and a very similar vibe. It's definitely intentional, not an accident. I think writing it was an accident because, like I said, I just sort of just wrote it, because I needed to release something, and then it ended up becoming one of our songs. So that was an accident. But once the music got combined with Christina's lyrics, that's when it started to become very intentional. The screams came later. That was actually Evan, our lead guitarist's idea. That's actually him doing the screaming in the song. Christina wrote the lyrics for it and then was like, hey, with us going into this new season of Rob playing guitar, you doing lead, we'd love for you to do some more vocal stuff. Here's some lyrics, do something. And we walked into the studio one day before when we were wrapping up recording and everything. And he was like, hey, y'all, listen to this. And he played it. And we were all like, this sounds so good, dude. He killed it. And so that was like, let's move forward with that. Like that, it sounds so good. It's a great contrast, I think, with Christina's very melodic, theatrical, operatic type voice, where she brings this beautiful melody to this heavy music. And then all of a sudden we have this big breakdown and he just comes in with this nasty scream. So it's the first of a new direction that I think we're going in, but it's a very exciting and very intentional direction.
Yeah, I bet after a full run of shows where he has to do all that screaming, he'll be like, let's cut this out. After the voice is throbbing after shows, doing the screaming bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a new thing for him. He's definitely going through some exercises and getting some training on it for sure. But he's super excited about it. Very, very, very excited about it.
Now, did Jermaine get to hear this before it was released? Did he?
Yeah, he got to hear
Yes,
a little bit
yeah,
of.
and that's exactly what I was about to say. Dude, hearing this
Jermaine,
song
what'd you
live is
think of the new
actually
sound?
next level.
Jermaine, what'd you
Next
think of the
level.
new
And
sound?
can you not hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Next level, dude. So, uh, that's not the only one that'll melt your face. Is this song? They have another one up their sleeve that we fortunately at Pit Fest got to hear, and I am so thrilled. This one, man, it knocked my socks off. I turned all the way up when they performed this live, and I just got to say, Crimson Overtone's stage presence has greatly evolved since they got Lindsay on bass and Rob went to lead guitar. Uh, Honestly, in my opinion, I can see very soon Crimson Overtone being a headliner band for lots of festivals because what I saw at Pit Fest literally just it gave me it's such a wow factor. It's unreal. They're amazing.
Let's talk about the. You added another member to the band. Uh, what are their names? And they're playing bass, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Good.
So his name is Lindsay. Um, Came about in a really weird way, a weird situation where we decided to do this change. We wanted to have a fuller sound. My original instrument was a guitar. I started playing bass as a flute because my church I was going to at the time needed it, and it just kind of developed from there to where I became the bass player for the band. And but we were like, hey, let's go in this new direction because it'll open up so many possibilities on a musical level and a creative level. And so we put it out there that we were looking for somebody, had a few guys come in that just weren't the right fit. And we're not just going to let anybody into this circle. We fought really hard to have the circle that we have and have the family that we have. And so we were very, very particular in our prayers about it. And then Lindsay kind of showed up in our messages on our social media. And, at first it was like, oh, this may not work out because of scheduling and personal lives and everything. But man, he just kept showing up back to back to back. And then finally we were like, hey, how about we just sit down and have a meeting? Let's just sit down. Let's get our families together. You bring your family. Let's everybody meet. And let's just have a conversation and just go from there. If it's a no, it's a no. Cool. And like that first meeting, like he was comfortable. His wife and his family became instantly comfortable. We loved him from the beginning. And so he was like, let's do it. And we went through the whole probationary period, and now he's officially all in. And yeah, so he's the new bass player. And like I said, I mean, as you can see with the new song, and even with him playing the first show with us at Pit Fest, it has opened up a lot of opportunities musically and creatively for us to do things. And he's perfect fit for the band. He's an amazing dude. His faith, his character, his personality, it just fits right in with all of us.
Christina, ditto.
Oh yeah.
How are you?
It's one of those things, you wonder why weren't you here from the beginning, but also at the same time, I think God had to bring us through a period of pulling. We often say it's kind of like, how when Gideon had like this big army, we started as a 6 piece and then we got cut down to a 3 piece, and then Rob came back, and then we were trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? We want to do this new sound. And it really takes that next level of faith to bring in the right person, because we've even brought in, we interviewed people, we auditioned people, we brought people in that weren't the right fit, and that was all because we were impatient. We didn't have that faith that God was going to bring the right person into the band. And when we let God do his thing, he doesn't need us. He doesn't need us to do his job for him. When we let him take over, that's when Lindsay showed up. And I do think it was completely a God thing that he ended up being the bass player.
That's awesome. Uh, as we transition the conversation to what's going on in 2024, uh, something that happened at the end of 23 for you, Christina, you became a mom. And so to baby Daniel, how is being a mom? Just awesome?
Um, Right now, it's really hard.
Okay.
They say it's like Groundhog Day, like it's just one really long day where you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Um, he eats, he sleeps, he poops, and that's about it. Um, but it's a bittersweet sort of thing. It's this, the days feel really long, but the weeks go by so fast. So I just, I know that I'm gonna look back in 20 years and I'm gonna be like, no, I just brought you home yesterday. You
Yeah, that's I have a 3-month-old grandchild now, and she is the apple of our eye, and uh, they live about an hour away, so we don't get to see her all the time. And every time we see her, she's changed so much, and just it is fantastic. And so, congratulations on your baby, and those days become uh, even longer later when they become teenagers and all that. I would tell you those days. Uh, but what's going on with the band in 2024? What's upcoming? I mean, Jermaine mentioned a upcoming song in that's in the works. So what's upcoming for the band?
we got a couple things we're working on. We got some new singles that we recorded before I had the baby. We're working towards releasing an EP in the summer sometime, Lord willing, and probably a couple other songs that will drop after that. Just kind of all trying to build up that repertoire and get out that new sound that we said we're going for.
You got any upcoming shows that you guys are, or festivals you guys are doing, or is that on pause because of some personal
So
changes and new member?
we're not going to be performing until I believe May is when we're going to start shows again. So May through the end of the year, we are booking like crazy, trying to get as much as we can, get out there as much as we can. But right now, well, I'm kind of getting used to this whole new family member thing. We're also trying to, they're doing instrumental practice, getting Lindsay caught up on everything, teaching him the music, and Rob can probably speak more to that than I can because I haven't been around. I've been home, but um, that's that's kind of the plan right now.
You are going to be doing shows long before May. I am trying to book a small tour, and I need you guys to be.
Hey,
Get
man,
ready
she
for
can
the
only
end
do
of
so
March.
much.
Tour announcement right on the show.
Get
Yeah,
ready
Tour
for the
month, so we
joint
didn't
tour
even
through
know
the
we
end
were
of
a part
March.
of.
uh,
yeah, we've
well,
got
Jermaine,
something.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, yeah, like what Christina said, we do have some things coming up with that. We of course have the desire to want to play as soon as possible, but um, we actually specifically wrote in our band agreements and stuff like that for Christina to be able to have that allotted time with her family and the new baby and everything. So May was probably the best choice just for recovery time and everything like that. I mean, when you have a kid, it's like, I mean, you don't, everything goes away at that point. And so that's the plan. But yeah, we do have a lot of stuff. Hopefully we've submitted. So all y'all be in prayer about getting into Kingdom Come Fest. That's something that we're hoping to get this year. We played Pitt and that went really well. At least we were told it went really well. And so we're hoping to get Kingdom Come Fest and Pit Fest on the lineup this year. That would be amazing. We just announced last week, I think this past week, we'll be at Broken Bottle Fest in September. So that's super, super exciting.
Yeah,
Getting
I
to
was looking
travel
at
out
that lineup and I was like, wow, that is great.
there. Man.
I had the opportunity of going last year.
Mm.
Had a blast. Being here in Sacramento, we made a trip to the East Coast, looking for areas for a new home area for us. And I ended the trip with going to Ohio to see that. And so I've been in touch with their I forget his name that's running it, but
Man.
I was looking at the band.
Ryan,
I was like, that is fabulous that all these bands are going to be playing. I think it's 2 days now, and so if I'm correct, Yeah,
Yeah.
27th and 28th September. So
Yeah.
if you're listening and you're near Ohio, put this on your calendar.
Yeah.
The band list is fantastic.
Yeah. It's going to be a really, really crazy lineup. And we're super excited about everything coming, the song releases, the shows and some of the festivals that we're doing this year. I mean, it's going to be probably our biggest year that we've had, which is what we've been working towards. And so yeah, we're all pumped up. We're ready. We're excited for it to just like, let's go, let's hit it, let's hit it.
I
That's
keep
great.
saying if I didn't have a major abdominal surgery like 4 weeks ago, I would be back at practice already. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it sounds like you just have a really tight group. Even with the new member, that's really supportive of each other and knows that when you add a member to the family, little baby Daniel, that it takes time for all of that to take place. So you have to get some ear muffs for the baby or whatever. I've seen that. In fact, that was at uh, the festival, Bottle Music Festival last year. One of the players brought their son. Now, again, he was like 8 or 9 years old, but he was right up in front. He got his head going up and down, and he had
Mhm.
those the ones you use when you fire guns. I forget what they're called. Ear shields or whatever. So the ears didn't
Mhm.
get damaged. So you have to get a little pair of those for baby Daniel.
Oh, we are we
Yeah.
are well ahead of you. We already have them. They have some infant versions of those, so we got him
Oh,
some.
okay.
So we're hoping to take him to some concerts before maternity leave. In fact, I think we got some plans to go see our buddies in Tricord in February. So we made sure he had his ear protection and his good merch and everything. So
Yeah.
he's ready.
I think our oldest was 3 months old, and again, he's 27. We went to the Jesus Freak Festival show with DC Talk.
Yeah.
So many years ago, when that music was brand new, and we took him to that show, and he definitely loves music, and I know baby Daniel will grow up being a music lover for sure. And so, hey, we're gonna take a break right here. We're gonna play "Dead Man Walking," their new single, and maybe another surprise song right after that. And we're gonna be right back. And I know these guys met in a 12-step or a faith-based program, and we're gonna talk about that. And if you're looking for help, what God can do for you. And so we'll be right back on the Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience. We're back on the Rock Salt MUZKAST Experience again with our guest, Rob and Christina,
Crimson Overtone.
Crimson
Crimson
Overton.
Overtone, like this. And so, great. Uh, I know you guys met at what we would call a faith based ministry called Celebrate Recovery. And if I was dealing with some issues and really needed some help, and I decided I was going to go to Celebrate Recovery to start my recovery process, am I going to get, I've never been, am I going to get bombarded with Bible verses or Jesus said this or that or what's the ministry about? Either one of you.
Go ahead, Christina.
Okay. Um, so I know actually when I started in CR, I was also pretty far from God. I was definitely in a place where I had been really running away from all that. I was trying to avoid it as much as possible. But I needed to get clean to keep my job. And so I needed to go somewhere, and that was the easiest place to go because I wasn't dealing with a lot of the chemical substance addictions. I was dealing with some other things. So I wanted to go somewhere that had a group for me. And CR happened to have groups for things like self-harm and things like trauma, other issues outside of just alcohol or drugs. So uh, the first thing I noticed when I went in was just how open everybody was. In fact, yes, there is scripture in every single meeting. Every time you go through the 12 steps or the 8 principles, they're going to say the scriptures with it. And they're very open about being a faith-based ministry. But the Bible is never shoved down your throat. You don't have to be a Christian to go there. Um, I think I believed in God when I went there, but I don't know that I was sold out to Jesus when I started going. And I I never felt pressured to be sold out to Jesus. It's just something that kind of happened as a byproduct of finding the healing that I need.
And Rob, what's your experience with CR?
Very similar to Christina's. I agree with her. It's not a situation where you walk in there and they're just going to shove scripture and Jesus down your throat. Yes, they are very unashamed about uh, being a faith-based recovery program. And it's very much embedded in the program and in the 12 steps and how they run everything and everything like that. But if you're a non-believer just looking for a good place to go for recovery, for support, for accountability, I mean, it's great. You don't have to be a believer to go there. And if you go in there, you tell them that you're not a believer, they're going to be like, okay, cool. We're glad that you're here. Let us know how we can help you in any way. They just want to love on people in any way possible because yes, it's a faith-based recovery program, but they are all about recovery in the way that you need it to happen. Again, now that doesn't mean that they're going to put aside their faith and their scriptures just because you're not a believer. They're very much going to talk about it, and it's going to come up in groups and it's going to come up in conversation, but it's not going to be a thing where, hey, you have to believe in order to, be better. You have to, or anything like that. It's going to be, we're going to love you and we're going to walk you through this process and we're going to be here for you because, I mean, that's what, Yeshua did anyway. He hung out with unbelievers. He hung out with the worst of the worst, and through his love and just being there for them, they ended up following him naturally. And that's really what the goal of Celebrate Recovery is, probably just in a nutshell. It's of course detailed and complicated. I mean, it's a recovery program, so there's a lot that goes into it, but in a nutshell, that's what it's about, and that's what their focus is. And my experience was just like that. I was definitely a believer when I started going there and when I joined their worship team and started helping them out. And I was all out for my faith, but they let me see that I wasn't as all out as I thought I was. And they helped me to see that there was a lot that I needed to deal with on a mental and spiritual level that helped me to get closer in my faith and helped me to become stronger, and definitely, as what it's there for, recover from a lot of past traumas and things that I was dealing with.
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing I think is great about being a Christian. I love a challenge, and being a Christian, you're never there yet. God is still growing you, and this way and that way. And as you said, you realize that God had more for you and a challenge for you. And that's the one thing about you really never arrive. I mean, you'll go through a season in your life as your walk, but you'll never arrive. um, God's always challenging you and molding you, and I really like that as my journey in Christ continues. um, I know a little bit about our CR, but so they do worship from the start and then break into small groups, or how does that all? How does someone walking into a CR meeting, maybe yours, how does it all? What's it all? How does it go? The meeting go?
So when you walk in, a lot of them do food or a dinner of some sort at the beginning, which I
Okay.
mean, hey, that's what got me interested. Free food is always a plus, right? But then it's followed up with a large group. So there'll be worship, and then they'll either do a lesson or they'll have somebody give their testimony. Um, After that, then we break off into small groups, and it depends on the CR you're in. The CR I started at had specific groups, so they had an alcohol group, a group for alcohol, a group for narcotics, a group for trauma, a group for uh, depression and anxiety, and a group for just general life issues. But a lot of CRs, they don't break into groups that are that specific. A lot of them just have breakout rooms where you go and you kind of find your people, and it's just a place where you can share openly. You get 5 minutes to just say whatever you gotta say, and then nobody says anything back. Nobody tries to tell you how to fix it. You just say what you need to say, get it out, and move on to the next person. And then after groups are done, usually there's you know, a place afterwards where you can go and talk to people more one-on-one and actually build those relationships as well. Because that's, you know, ultimately that's the goal, is to build relationships with people.
Yeah.
Now, you guys met in CR. Did you all arrive around the same time, or is that how did that all, just, one of you, some of you were new, and some of you just arrived. I don't how you guys been going there about in the same amount of time.
So I don't know actually who started going to that CR first, me or Christina. I really don't know actually. Were you there before me or was I there first?
Um, I don't remember. I know I started going when I moved up from Orlando, because I started going to CR while I was still in Florida.
Yeah.
And then when I moved up, I knew I wanted to stay in CR because I was getting better and I didn't want to stop getting better. So
Right.
I don't remember when it was. We met when you became the worship pastor or
Yeah.
worship director.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but I mean around the same time basically is when we were going there. And like what she just mentioned, I was the music director for the worship band, and that's how we met. She came to CR and ended up getting involved in the worship because I mean clearly beautiful singer and heart for the Lord and everything, and she wanted to help out in the ministry. And so we ended up working together that way, and that's how we met. And then
Oh,
our lead guitarist, Evan, who is, for those of you who don't know, is also my dad, um, was also
I did
going there.
not know that.
Yeah, he's my dad. Um, so he was also going there with us, and he would sometimes help on stage, but he was mainly our sound guy that would help out behind the scenes. And so that's how all three of us ended up kind of linking together and hanging out around that time. Um, yes, I think. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was gonna say I actually joined the worship team as a pianist originally,
Yeah.
which is really funny because I failed piano class twice. Um, I'm not good at playing piano, so I don't know why they hired me as a pianist, but
Hey man,
that's what
it's
I'm
worth
supposed to do.
it.
It was to get
You
you
didn't know.
in. It was to get you in. They originally wanted to be a singer, but let's get her
Right.
a pianist, and then we'll get her a mic on her.
Right, exactly. But that's how the three of us ended up coming together. And then Alex was also met Christina through CR, but it was a separate CR, not the same one we all went
Mhm.
to.
Yeah,
Christina, when she got married, she ended up changing churches, and she can tell you how she met Alex because I don't know all those details.
yeah. Well, just we started doing practice on Monday nights, and our CR that we originally met at was also on Monday nights. So I started going on Tuesdays, and that's where I met Alex. They were doing YouTube videos for worship, and Alex mentioned that he played drums, and I sang and played guitar sometimes. There's another guy there that played guitar. So we are like, hey, we don't have to do YouTube. We can do live music. So we started playing. And then around that time, we started looking for a drummer for Crimson Overtone. And I asked Alex if he'd be interested. Um, and sure enough, he thought that sounded okay. He was really hesitant at first. I don't know, you might have noticed if you've ever met Alex, he's a little bit on the introverted side. So he
Yeah, he
wasn't
was.
so
He
sure.
joined us the first interview, and I found out he's a metal. He likes metal and the hard stuff and all that. So he
Hmm.
Yeah.
gets along with the band all that well. Um,
Yeah.
except you, and now you've grown into the metal genre yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, Alex is awesome. He's definitely the quietest of the group, but I think that's a great thing because you know that when he talks, he really has something to say, and we all shut our mouths and listen to him. He's
mhm.
got a lot of wisdom, a lot of life experience, and a lot of spiritual wisdom that the Lord's given him. And no, like what she was just saying, he is definitely introverted. He doesn't talk a whole lot. We do these interview things, and he's usually silent in the corner and doesn't say anything unless you specifically say, Alex, this question's for you. But when he, like I said, when he opens his mouth, it's like, okay, you know, if he has something to say, then it's important. And we usually, it's great having him around. It's great having that contrast in the band. And he's, oh my gosh, we love him so much. He's an amazing person.
Well, I think he balances out everybody else's crazy a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So you said May is when you guys are going to be back on the stage, performing with Baby Daniel on the side.
Yes.
March.
There.
March.
Man,
How
don't
can-
listen to me.
how can people contact you? Hey, we want Crimson Overtone at our CR, or we want Crimson Overtone at our festival or at our church, or we want to add them to our tour as we go through Georgia, where you guys are. How can they reach out to Crimson Overtone?
So if you go to our website, crimsonovertone.com, under the shows tab, there's a section where you can actually go and request a show from
Okay.
us. And you can tell us what kind of show you're interested in, what kind of venue you're looking at, or if you have those details, or if you want us to help you find those details, that's fine too. So you can do that either there, or you can go to just our generic contact page, and you can also reach out to us there if you don't find the kind of show you're looking for on the shows page.
And are you, I know you're going to be in September, you're going to be in Ohio. Where are you looking to do most of your traveling as you do these shows?
So that's something that we actually just been recently talking about going into 2024. We definitely want to grow our local-ish fan base, and by that we mean, of course, Georgia, where we're based out of, but that Southeast region, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama kind of deal, just trying to grow that. I mean, we kind of have spots of fans everywhere. I know we've even got messages from people over in Europe that want to see us play, and which would be amazing in the future at some point. But we definitely want to, I think, going into this year, play as many Southeastern local shows as possible. Going farther than that is fine. We're not against it, of course, at all. So if there's anybody that wants us, to come to Texas, or like we're playing in Ohio, or if y'all want us to come out to California, I mean, we're down for anywhere. We're not going to say no, to anybody. But the focus is going to be more local stuff. Will be the priority, I think, just to grow that local area out. I think we've only had like one show near where we're based out of, close to Atlanta. And so we'd like to do a few more than just one this year.
Now, if you look at your all the songs you have on Spotify, you got about 7 or 8 songs as an album in the works.
Yeah, well, yeah, go ahead, Christina. You talk about
So
that one.
sort of. So we're kind of taking it slow as far as the album is concerned. A lot of the stuff that you're hearing as singles, you'll probably hear again if and when an album does come out. But right now we're trying to build a theme and a style, if that makes sense. So a sound brand, if you will. And as we build on that, and as we build up on the different lyrical themes, eventually we've got a concept piece in mind for an album that will be built out as more of these singles and EPs come out. And so then when the album eventually drops, it'll have some familiar songs, it'll have some new songs, but it'll all be about kind of the same theme, or it'll tell one cohesive story.
So that's definitely a goal in the future, to put
Absolutely.
out a concept album. And I know being able to release new music through just singles is outstanding, but to see one piece of work is probably going to be fantastic as you put that all together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this. So how those who are trying to get you to perform in their area, how can the fans reach out to you? Social media, you have a website.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
So both those places. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, you can go ahead. You know it better than I do.
To say at both of those places they can reach out, either social media. We've got Facebook and Instagram. We're even on YouTube, sort of. And then we've got our website, of course, with that contact page. But there's also one of the things we're trying to build is a fan community. So if you go to our uh, photos tab on our website, it's not professional pictures. It's pictures of fans, and it's pictures that fans have taken at shows. And ideally, there's a spot there where they can send a message to, talk about their experience or talk about, the way that the music has impacted them. And it's not very extensive yet, but the hope is that as people start to share their stories and their experiences, those will go on that website too under this message board where people can build an actual community. And just like the band is a family, we want that kind of family feeling even within our fan community and our fan base as well.
That's great. Hey, Jermaine, do you have any questions for the band?
I think you pretty much covered it all, my guy. Let's see. I was thinking about something earlier, but totally lost it because I didn't ask it immediately.
Dude, you were thinking about plumbing that sink. Don't get into you were thinking about man. Come on, son. If you're gonna tell stories, make them true, brother.
As I video edit this, I'm gonna vet it. Put a picture over that because I don't think anyone in our viewing audience would like to see. But maybe I can put Jermaine's number when he's working on the bathroom. Get him some more work, get him some
Aaron,
work.
you need to put a big picture of plumber's crack there with the number right across the face.
I literally thought the same thing. I was like, man, you got to
Like a
catch
tramp
the
stamp.
over next time.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for joining us. We're about to wrap this up. Do you have any questions for Crimson Overtone?
No, it's good to finally see you guys almost in person.
Almost
in person. But no, I have zero. I didn't want to be a distraction because I'm coming in late. So I figured I'd jump in at the very tail end of it and be like, insult Jermaine and then move on. I think I succeeded.
Good plan.
I'm sure a lot of bands have insulted or made fun of Jermaine. He's, you just wanted to get him laugh because it makes everybody in the room feel better when he starts laughing. That's
absolutely.
Sure. Yes. Hey, Christina, Rob, and baby Daniel, thank you for coming on the show today. It was great having you. I assume we're gonna have you. We're not gonna spill the information, but I'm sure we'll have you maybe in the next couple months with another special announcement. But congratulations on the new song, Dead Man Walking. Look forward to hear many more from you guys, and hopefully, I'll be able to see you in person before long, and just have a great 2024. And hope to have you guys back during the year to talk about bigger and better things. And so, and to our audience, hey, go see Crimson Overtone. Go to their website, buy some merch, support the band. Even if you don't support the band, there's a link there to donate to the band and keep their ministry going and changing lives. Hey, thank you for coming on. And as we wrap up the show, also we're gonna stick around if you're our audience. Stick around for the on the podcast or the podcast version for "Girl Who Never Mattered." We're gonna play that song and maybe another one. And we'll see you our next show. Adios, everybody.